February 2005 saw a party of experienced peak baggers sitting on a northern outcrop of Mount Louisa, looking in dismay at the formidable scrub lying in the Solly River Valley below. The goal had been to get to the Provis Hills, but we had not allowed enough days for the work that would be involved getting through that scrub. Getting to the point we were at had been heavy going with full rucksacks, and we were now behind schedule. The twin western peaks of the Provis Hills lay clear across the valley, and after contemplating future routes and enjoying the vistas of the central southwest from our vantage point, we retreated back off Mount Louisa down to the Southcoast Track and Louisa Bay. Here we were comforted from our defeat by the stunning coast, and slowly retraced our steps to Melaleuca to fly out. Of the mountains in southwest Tasmania, few are more isolated from recognised routes than are the Provis Hills. They lie near the middle of a long watershed that extends from the sea-battered cliffs of the Ironbound Range on the south coast to Federation Peak in the heart of the southwest wilderness. This watershed divides the New River and New River Lagoon from the headwaters of the Solly and the Old Rivers that flow to Port Davey. The twin summits are both marked as 883 metres on maps, and few would have stood on them. From our vantage point on Mount Louisa, and from flying over them, one thing was clear. Every land approach was barred by thick scrub. After studying all the photos we had taken from Mount Louisa, the plain, and from prior trips to Precipitous Bluff, we settled on a bold plan: to kayak up the New River from New River Lagoon until we were adjacent to the Provis Hills. Of the four to make this attempt, none of us had the experience to paddle the south coast and land through the often heavy surf at Prion Beach. So we settled on shuffling 7 heavy packs containing folding kayaks and 9 days' food to New River Lagoon for the paddle. To ease the burden, a few weeks before, Dale, John and Matt carried the first load of boats along the Southcoast Track from Cockle Creek via South Cape Rivulet through to Granite Beach. After hauling our brutal loads across the muddy South Cape Range, we were rewarded with a superb sunset before heading home. On our return with the rest of the gear, John picked a deep line to cross South Cape Rivulet, whilst Rob, who had been absent for the Granite Beach drop-off, was feeling the weight of his pack, having only flown out from Denmark the day before. Unlike many Danish adventurers who head to more glamorous international destinations like the Swiss Alps, Rob prefers to join his mates for an annual expedition into the hardest and remotest corners of this beautiful island of Tasmania. After a late camp at Granite Beach, we shuffled the packs across Surprise Bay. By lunchtime, we had all the gear at Prion Beach, where the New River enters the sea. Here we caught our first glimpse of the distant summits of the Provis Hills. We assembled our boats and ended the day with a glorious paddle up New River Lagoon under the towering cliffs of Precipitous Bluff. The next day, dark clouds were assembling as we broke camp. Matt was first out of the water, whilst John watched Rob's unique way of stowing gear in his boat. After a short paddle, we landed at a delightful beach opposite Precipitous Bluff for a final break and gear check before the squalls coming down the new river hit us. As we paddled the lagoon, we were reminded of an old club movie where a jury mast was rigged on a boat rescued half buried from the sand, a boat with quite a few holes. These were patched by plastic bags, and with much bailing, the crew had sailed it up the lagoon into the lower reaches of the new river before heading back the hard way. John was first to the mouth of the new river proper, a significant place for him, as 4 years earlier he'd been injured in another difficult journey, a rare paddle of the new river from near its source below Federation Peak. Broken ribs on that occasion had meant the river had been left uncompleted. This time we would be paddling up to a point near where he had got to when injured 4 years before. Initially the paddle was gentle against the soft current in the deep dark waters. As we got further up, we had to negotiate log jams in a swifter current. After a cold wet lunch on a sandy bank, we continued up under the dark forest until after around 12 kilometres of river we were near a creek that headed towards the Provis Hills. Here we reorganised our gear and hit the scrub, camping late in a dark forest beside what we named Provis Creek. The prior day's rain left the large creek running fast and cold. Matt was always in front in the scrub, pushing it apart or bashing it down. But after crossing the creek several times to avoid the thicker scrub, he finally announced that the clearest line was to wade the creek. This wasn't met with enthusiasm initially in the cold air, but turned out to be not much wetter than pushing through the soaking bushes.